today's fast-paced world, our lifestyles and preferences are changing very fast, right? So, if we were to describe an urban professional personality, what principal features would come to our mind? Today, people are having sedentary lifestyle. An average urban professional is a brain worker and one's life is very stressful. The ambitions are high and there is a competitive mindset. These are the people of zealous and ardent character, but they are impatient by temperament. They are easily disposed to anger and irritability. Our remedy of today pinpoints such personality. You can very well imagine how much this remedy will be useful in today's modern time. Yes, we are talking of Naxwamika. The purpose of creating this video is to spread information and knowledge about this remedy. We strongly discourage any self-consumption of medicine without a proper consultation. Welcome to another new video by Visual Designers. In this video, with our experience and understanding, we have tried to divide the Naxwamika personality into 3 different shades. Please like and share it with others. So let us start with the Naxwamika personality. Although it is predominantly a male remedy, but in modern times it can also be given to females belonging to this personality. The fundamental aspects of Naxwamika character are love for power, ability to acquire power, and exercise power with confidence. And we have attempted to describe the Naxwamika personality through these 3 characteristics. So to understand this personality better, let's take an example of Gautam. So Gautam is a software professional and a manager in a software development company called Codefine. So let's commence with the first aspect of this character, that is love for power. Since Gautam is at a managerial position, he has a number of powers in the company. A person who has powers naturally becomes an independent person and has lot of confidence on his own. This independent and confident nature or attitude is exhibited by Gautam. This attitude makes Gautam display leadership qualities, and in order to maintain his stature and position, Gautam is quite dictatorial. Dictatorial people cannot tolerate contradiction. Similarly, if someone contradicts Gautam, he does not like it. Leadership and independence bring about a discomfort and annoyance when someone asks them for answers. For example, when Gautam's boss asked him for details of last month's expenses, he did not like it at all. There is a refusal to be questioned about the merits of his action, and there is aversion to answer. They cannot support injustice and defy authority. For instance, Gautam had to submit a project report at the month end and also agreed to it, but his boss asked for that report a week before. Gautam became angry at this and also had an intense argument with the boss. This is why people of this personality have been called quarrelsome. Gautam is very straightforward. He speaks what comes to his mind. His behavior becomes indiscreet and shameless sometimes. Sometimes he becomes contemptuous also. That is why people are often afraid of going or talking to him. A Naxwamika personality is so self-confident and sure about his powers that he lives on his own terms. He follows self-made rules and regulations only. He can ignore the rules and regulations of company regardless of anyone. Therefore, a Naxwamika personality may not follow the set of rules and regulations and doesn't care for anybody. So this was our first aspect of Naxwamika personality, love for power. Now, let's move on to the second aspect, that is ability to acquire power. So the first question here is, from where does the ability to acquire this power come? It comes from perfection, and that is why the Naxwamika personality has been called the perfectionist. Now, what does perfectionist mean? The one who does ordinary work in an extraordinary way is called perfectionist. But who can do any work extraordinarily? He who is skilled in the work, who is intelligent, who is sharp, and who has the clarity of mind. Gautam is a coding specialist and the codes written by him are very efficient. He is a very skilled developer. He is very intelligent and so sharp that he understands the client's need very quickly. If you look at this perfectionist behavior a little deeper, then some other qualities are revealed, like Gautam is a strategist. He works with lot of planning. There is an organized way of working. If we understand Gautam's personality a little more, we will find that Gautam is very punctual, doing every work at the right time and in the right way. Then only he can maintain his perfection. While doing any work, some issues always surface. People like Gautam solve these issues in a very pragmatic way. This means they deal with any problem in a very practical manner. They have a passion for their work and cannot stop till the work is completed. That is why they are called workaholics. Workaholic means a person who compulsively works excessively hard for long hours. Such person works at the cost of their sleep or personal time, like meeting friends or families. And because these people are brain workers, they have more strain on their nervous system. And to get their nervous system working efficiently, they have to take stimulants like tea, coffee, etc. That is why at the physical level we find the phrase desire for stimulants in Naxwamika personalities. In spite of all the difficulties, Gautam is very persistent in his work. Means there is a lot of perseverance in him. A trait associated with perfectionism is to check one's own work over and over again. Like Gautam does coding very well, but still he tries to improve his programs and codes many times, and sometimes he deletes them completely and starts writing them again from scratch. If we think here, when Gautam wrote the program for the first time, he must have been dissatisfied by his effort. Next personalities are dissatisfied by themselves. You must have seen many students who fall ill after result declaration because it did not come as well as they wanted. Means that even when they got 95%, they are unhappy. They feel it is less. Now Gautam is very fastidious, means he is hard to please. No matter how good his team members have done, he is never happy with them. If Gautam's level of perfection is not met, then he will see mistakes in his team members' work. And hence, we get another term in Naxwamika personality, that is fault finder or censorious people. There is a great loquacity about health. They want their health to be good always, because if health deteriorates, then the work will not be done properly and they do not want to compromise their work. This reason for being healthy is very important to understand here. These people cannot sit idle. They become restless to an idle. For example, as soon as one project is completed, Gautam starts on another project. Here we complete our second aspect, and let's now proceed to the third aspect, which is exercise power with confidence. This means Naxwamika personality wants to use his power so well that he always remain ahead of everyone. That is, he wants to be a winner. Because he is of a competitive mindset, he always likes to be ahead of others. Nowadays, a majority of people have a competitive mindset and most want to be ahead of others. Everybody wants to be the winner, but everybody can't be the winner, right? So, what qualities are required to become a winner? The person who wants to win is of zealous and ardent character, means he is very enthusiastic and excited. He is very courageous and full of energy. He is very ambitious also. So, what are the ambitions of Nax personality? His ambitions are to earn money, fame, and to be the best in everything he does. These kind of people are always focused on their goal that they want to achieve. Nothing else matters for them. And so these people are supposed to be somewhat heartless, as they are only focused on achieving the results. They love to fight, means they can fight with any situation. They love challenges. They are fearless. Whatever the situation is, they always try to win. They set high goals and are very self-confident. There is a lot of positivity in these people. They are very optimistic. They are buoyant people, means even after getting into trouble or facing disappointment in a situation, they come back and try to win. These people make strategies to win. They have a perfect plan to proceed and continue to work until they win. They never give up very quickly. They have impatient temperament and they are proud of their victory. So these were the three different aspects of Naxwamika personality. Although we tried to segregate features of this personality into three categories, please note that these are not mutually exclusive categories. One can easily find feature of one category being categorized into another category. For example, strategist can be a feature of perfectionist as well as a winner. We divide in this way only for ease of understanding. Now, let's see some traits which are common in these three aspects. First is egoism. Because the people of Nux personality are independent and they move ahead of their own accord, does every work with perfection, and they know that no one can do the same thing as them. That is why they also develop an ego. It is because of this ego that there is aversion to answer. They become contemptuous, quarrelsome, spiteful, malicious, etc. Second is obstinacy. Now these people are obstinate. This obstinacy towards their work makes them perfectionist and a winner. The stubbornness can be so high that Naxwamika people do not listen to anybody's word or their wishes. They resist the wishes of others. Therefore, heartless attitude can be reasoned. Now third is worn out condition due to long continued mental exertion. Be it a perfectionist or a winner, a lot of hard work has to be done. The people of Nux personality do so much of work that a time comes when they are completely worn out. They are very, very tired. Now, when they are tired, completely worn out, they want to be alone and they desire rest. They want to be quiet. Till now, what we have read was routine part of Nux personality. So, when does the Nux personality needs medicine? When they are worn out. The long continued mental exertion leads him to a disease state, either at mental level or at physical level. At mental level, there is anger when disturbed, anger at silly matters. Means, you cannot disturb him when he is resting after being worn out. For example, when Nux personality is resting, there should be pin drop silence. Nobody should turn on the room lights, nor should anybody try to wake him up. Whoever will disturb him while resting, he will get angry on him. That is why we get a symptom at physical level, that is oversensitiveness to external impressions like light, noise, touch, etc. Sometimes they become so much irritable that they want to tear or destroy things. Now this symptom of anger when disturbed can also be seen while Naxwamika person is working. Means when Naxwamika is engaged in some of his work, and if someone disturbs him, or children are making noise at home, or if wife goes to ask him something, they get very angry. Don't you see, I am working, I am busy in my work. Don't disturb. They will shout on others like this when angry on disturbance. These people become anxious due to their work and sometimes get despondent. But because there is a lot of positivity in them, they overcome this hopelessness and get motivated again. Despondency alternates with buoyancy. That is why it is said that it is very difficult to crush Nux-Vomica personality. When mental state worsens too much, then nervousness and melancholy can also be seen in such personalities. If the condition becomes worse, there is uncontrollable irritability with inclination to commit suicide, though the patient is afraid to die. And if we talk about physical level, then in these patients we can see headache, especially in morning and often of gastric origin. Vertigo with momentary loss of consciousness or sleeplessness can also be seen. Nux-Vomica is mostly used for abdominal disturbances such as nausea and vomiting, acidity and dyspepsia, flatulence and gastralgia, constipation with frequent ineffectual urging, alternate constipation and diarrhea, hemorrhoids, hepatic troubles, etc. Now, let us see the clinical applicability of Nux personality. How will you recognize the patient of Nux when he comes to your clinic? See, the patients who belong to the Nux personality are very punctual. They will reach to your clinic at the time they made appointment with you. Usually they don't get late anywhere. They will talk to you with very great respect or reverence. He or she will tell you the case history in a very detailed manner. They will have all the details from the beginning of their disease to the date along with the proper chronological sequence of occurrences of symptoms. Maybe they have got some investigations done. Then they will have all of them perfectly ordered in one file. Even while narrating the symptoms, they will narrate them in sequence. For example, what happened first, then which doctor was consulted, then what investigations were done and which medicine was prescribed, how long did he took the medicine, how much improvement happened, etc. They will tell you everything in detail, no matter how old the disease is. They remember each and everything perfectly. However, while the patient is explaining his symptoms and you ask something that is slightly different from this track, then you will notice from their expression that they got a little bit angry because you have disturbed them. You will see a frown here, like a frown on their head. Or suppose in this patient who is accompanied with his wife and he has came with the complaint of acidity. While he is narrating his complaint, his wife suddenly says something in between like, hey, tell him about your disturbed sleep. He will get angry over her and will say, I am talking to the doctor. Don't disturb, be quiet. This way you can easily recognize the Nux patient. So this is all about Nux personality. Based on your suggestions, I have tried to include some physicals also. I hope you would have liked this video. If you have found value in this video, please don't forget to like and share with others. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so now. Please comment and give your feedback. Thanks for watching. See you soon with another new homeopathic personality. Bye.